In the last video, we created this image using a free Google Colab notebook. But today, we are taking it a step further. We are turning this into this. And yes, this uses a paid GPU, but I'll show you exactly what it costs, how it works, and why it is actually not as expensive as it sounds. So in part 1, we went from prompt to image. In this video, we are going from image to video. And to do that, we are using a much more powerful model this time, one that understands motion, lightning, and camera movement. We are using WAN 2.1, an image to video diffusion model. What that means is, instead of just generating an image, it actually predicts how that image shall move over time. It understands things like wind, camera motion, lightning, and depth, basically turning a still frame into a full-blown cinematic shot. And this isn't a tiny model. This is a 14 billion parameter version of WAN. That means there is a huge amount of visual understanding packed into the model. The model itself is tens of gigabytes in size, which is why we would need a powerful GPU with a lot of VRAM. We are actually going to rent a mini AI supercomputer for a few minutes. I specifically chose the 480p version and not the HD or 720p version, and that was intentional. The 720p version can definitely look better, but it would need more GPU memory, takes longer, and would cost more per generation. For the purpose of this exercise, 480p is the sweet spot. Good quality, faster generation, lower cost, and much fewer chances of running into errors. So for all the beginners, I would recommend this as the starting point. Now let me quickly show you the setup that I've used. So we are using something called as RunPod. Now RunPod is the AI infrastructure provider. Now, once you land on this page, you will have to sign up. Now, I have already done a sign up, so I'm not going to do that again. And there's a referral link. If you use that, you would get a few credits. So I'm going to sign in to my RunPod account. Now, once you are on the home page, you will have to add a few credits. Now, I have already added a few credits. Now, let's go to the pod section over here. And over here, we can now choose one of the GPUs or one of the GPU machines that we want. Now, first of all, there is this option to choose a GPU machine from a secure cloud or from a community cloud. Now, on the community cloud, you might find a free GPUs, but their performance, their availability is not guaranteed. So, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to choose one from the secure cloud. So, now we are going to use a 14 billion parameter model. So, for that purpose, I'm going to use this Nvidia's A100 GPU machine. Now, this machine has got 80 GBs of VRAM. Now, once you have done that, this is the pod template that I have chosen, and I would need just one GPU. So now this is the costing of this GPU machine, which is $1.39 per hour. But have a look at my current balance over here. I loaded it with $10, and after several exercises that I've done, I'm still not charged the complete $1.39. So this might sound a little expensive, but when you actually start using it, you won't really incur that much of charge. Cool. Next part is the storage configuration. Now, I'm going to choose 150 gigabytes over here because most of it will be used for downloading the model, and later on it will be reused. Once you have downloaded the model, it will be reused every time you try to generate a video. Now, over here, I'm going to choose volume disk. Let the volume disk be 20 GBs. That is fine. And here is the overall summary. Now, this GPU is going to cost you $1.39 per hour. The running cost of the GPU is around 2 cents, and even when you stop your pod, it is still going to cost you less than a cent. All right. So every time you are done generating your video, you should not just stop the pod, but you should also terminate it, because even a stopped pod is going to cost you. So this is the key thing about cost over here. You pay for the GPU while it is running, and then when it is not running, you are barely paying a cent to it every hour. So the workflow is simple. Start your pod, generate your video, download it, and then shut down the pod and kill it. Now, once you have done your settings, just hit on deploy on demand, and this shall take a little minute to provision your pod, and once it is up and running, we would have a Jupyter notebook kind of environment up and ready. Yeah, so the pod is up now, and I can click on this Jupyter lab over here, which is still initializing, by the way. So let it run for a few more seconds. All right, so the environment is up, and let me click on this Jupyter Lab, and this should take me to a new environment where I could run my notebook. So yes, this is the environment where we can now plug in our notebook and start playing around. All right, so now I have brought in the notebook, and I've also brought in the image that we generated in the previous video, which was this. Cool. Now let us double click on this notebook, and here is our playground. Now I'm going to, start it. The first few steps are very similar to what we already did. So I'm going to start most of its step, and then this is the place where now we are downloading the WAN 2.1 model. Now this might take a little while. The model itself is very huge. So we'll let it run again for a few more minutes, and once it is done, I'll come back and join you. So the model is done downloading, and it is now doing a few finishing tasks. Let that complete, and we will have our next step, that is the generate the video step. So let this complete again. All right, so the model is now loaded successfully, and let's look at this step next, which is generate the video. Now this step is running, and let's wait for the results to complete. All right, so the generation is complete, and let's look at the final result now. What is the video that we got? Okay, so this was a merely 3-second video. Of course, we will further look at how we can control several other aspects of the video generation, and that is where the real control comes in. So now let's say if we want to increase the length of the video. So if we go back to the settings where we had mentioned the number of frames that we want, I have right now mentioned it as 49. Now 49 frames at 16 FPS is about 3 seconds. Then we can now try different number of frames for even a longer video. Now let me make this to 81. Okay, and let's run this step. Now just run this step, and then next time you don't really need to load the WAN 2.1 model again. You just need to run this cell which says generate the video. Now I'm going to hit this run button over here, and that is going to execute this cell over here again. So it is starting again, yes, and it has now started to generate the video. So let's wait for a couple of minutes, and we'll see what is the result that we get this time. Now this is also done. It is still finalizing the video though, but I want to mention a point over here. Now because we increase the number of steps, the video is supposed to be a little longer, and so it also took more amount of time in generating that video. And so the pod was running or was using the GPUs for a much longer time this time, and so this would have incurred a more cost than your other previous shorter runs. So let's look at the video now. And you see the video is now for 5 seconds, and there is much more controlled motion into it. Let me play it again. So you can further increase the number of steps and have control of how much longer video you want. All right, now one more thing. Now let us say you didn't really like this video. You want an entirely different thing to happen, right? Now what would you do? What would you do then? What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the seed over here and give it some other random number. For the steps, I'm going to increase it to 35. So more steps means more quality, better quality. A subtle smooth motion also will be added now. And if you want more variety to your video, you could further change this prompt. Now I'm going to add some rain to my video, and let us see if WAN is able to do that. I'm going to say with heavy rain over here, and let us see if WAN is able to deliver that. So I'm going to run this step, and then I'm going to generate the video again by clicking on this step and then hitting the play button again. So the video has started to generate, and we are going to wait for some time in order to get this done. All right, so the video is done again, and let us play it now and let's see what we get. All right, so I can see some rain happening, and yes, there is a different kind of motion this time. The motion is much smoother, I would say. It takes the time, the hero image or the hero character is taking its time and then picking up the bow, and the things move forward. Now you can keep tweaking the parameters and have different set of results every time. So this is what you are paying for, not just a generation, but for control. You are not just relying on a tool and second guess what you want, but in fact you are directing the model yourself. And honestly, for just 5 to 10 cents, this is a real powerful capability that we can get. If you want to try this yourself, I've left this notebook in the description, and I've also added my RunPod referral link. If you sign up using that, you will get a few extra credits. And one more very important tip, just don't leave this running if you are not using it. Generate your video, download it, and shut the pod down and kill it or terminate it. This way you are only paying for a few minutes. So what did we do over here? We took a still image and turned it into a cinematic video using an open source model. We learned how to run a large AI model on a cloud GPU, how to control motion, quality, duration, and the style, and how to generate surprisingly high quality results for just a few cents. But most importantly, we just didn't use a tool, we built the entire pipeline ourselves. And while we are nearing this end, I want to tell you about one more important thing. At the very end of this, I have added one more section where you could actually start your own API endpoint. And in order to try this, you would also get a Swagger URL where you could actually try this once and see how it is working. And now because we have added an API endpoint on top of this, you can now integrate this into your own applications, workflows, websites, or any kind of automation. So this isn't just a content creation anymore. This is infrastructure. And I believe that's the exciting part about learning this kind of systems. You are not just consuming an AI tool, instead, you are learning how to build them. If you want to try this yourself, the notebook is in the description. It is completely free, but if you want, you can buy me a cup of coffee. On that note, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if enough people are interested, in the next video, maybe we can take this even further. And I'll see you in the next one.